Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
Radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Keep the faith.
This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Big headline here from CNN. Christy Nome was having dinner Easter Sunday night, and her purse was stolen by a man, a masked man. In the purse, notably, $3,000 cash, which has raised a lot of questions. Sam,
There's more things in the purse. There was more things in the purse, but that was the most notable.
Yeah, blank checks also, a makeup bag. Need the makeup bag. Medication,
DHS,
apartment case,
access badge,
a passport.
On her. I mean, that was funny. She a snuff film in El Salvador. You know, I think that's where they make them. I do. I think that's part of their economy. They're very big on murder down there, and filming it, I guess, would actually put some money in their pockets. But yes, Christy Nome, wearing a $50,000 watch and a tight white T-shirt, went down to El Salvador to pose in front of a concentration camp full of gang members who never got due process anywhere in El Salvador, but now are being used as props, basically, for Christy Nome to declare victory in her deportation madness scheme, even though those people that are in that prison were put in that prison by the dictator Bukele and not the dictator Donald Trump. You know, it's just like, wow. But here you have a Department of Homeland Security lady who has her purse stolen on the homeland with her passport and her DHS credentials and $3,000 in cash. Who the hell carries $3,000 in cash? Oh, that's right. Drug dealers.
You just took it right out of my mouth. Drug dealers.
Exactly.
That's who carries $3,000.
$3,000. Drug dealers. Was she going to buy some meth after dinner? I mean, I don't even know like what illicit drugs cost. I have no idea anymore. I mean, do you?
No, Randy. I don't know a thing about illicit drugs. What are you even talking about?
Did anybody ever tell you about it? Like, did you overhear? Because I honestly do not know what the going.
I mean, McGruff, the crime dog, told me a lot about it.
What did he say? What did he say?
Users are losers and losers are users.
No, I mean about the price.
I genuinely don't know. I'm sorry.
I don't either. Honestly, I do not. I have no clue. Like, what does anything go? I wouldn't even know what like marijuana goes for on the street anymore because you go to the dispensary now.
I was about to say the dispensary is my dealer now.
Right.
That's my plug. So I really am disconnected.
And you don't need cash at the dispensary. So you got to imagine that whatever she was buying with the $3,000 couldn't be bought with a credit card somewhere, like dinner, which is what she said she was buying with it. She said she was buying her family $3,000 worth of dinner. I mean, come on. So, yeah, interesting. And then you got a Secretary of Defense, as I mentioned, who's drunk and can't defend us, right? You got the President of the United States. Okay, this is the greatest example of bullcrap you've ever been sold in your life. And, you know, our listeners know it. But he claims to be the best businessman ever. And the economy is tanking. Okay, the U.S. economy is tanking so hard that people are literally buying gold. The treasuries, okay, that people normally buy when the stock market isn't doing great, they usually move their money into safe investments, which used to be American T-bills, American Treasury bills. Best thing in the world. Everybody used it as a place to save their money, store their money, while a bearish market or a market was tanking. This used to be the go-to. No, they don't. Treasuries now are not reliable because of Donald Trump, okay? The currency of the United States is the reserve currency of the world. Please make a note of the date, because as of today it is. Tomorrow, can't vouch, can't tell you, can't say. But he's the best businessman ever. Ever. Now, let me tell you something. You need to know why he's considered the best businessman. It's because he lies better than anybody. He's a con man, and he has conned you into believing that, or some people into believing that. But it's because he knows how to make money in bankruptcy. And how does he do that? How does he do that? I don't think you need to be the best. I just think you need to be like, the biggest BS artist, right? Which is what he is. But in bankruptcy, what he did was he stiffed everybody. He just didn't pay. He would use bankruptcy as a shield, right? As a giant shield to shield him from having to pay creditors, and also stiff, contractors and people that, had installed windows or painted walls or, gave him pianos for, his lounges in Atlantic City. I remember an interview with some guy who sold him like 9 pianos in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and he never got paid for any of his pianos, and he didn't get his pianos back either. That's you. That's you. Yes, because Donald Trump is bankrupting the country. It's the only trick he knows. And in bankruptcy, he stiffs everybody. And guess who he's going to stiff? That's right, the holders of T-bills, treasuries, people who usually consider an American bond to be a bond that would never be broken. And the rest of us who don't have anything, who don't have bonds, don't expect to get paid your EBT card, don't expect to get paid your Medicaid, don't expect to get paid anything. Anything, your disability check, because they're going to put you on a death list, especially if he doesn't like you. Retribution. This is it. This is the retribution tour. And he's burning it down to the ground. And it's not just us. It's the whole freaking world. But the world has assets. The world has central banks. The world has currency. So the world is starting to figure out which currency is the next big currency. Some people are guessing it's going to be the Japanese yen. I swear this is how low it's gotten. Some people are saying it's going to be the Swiss franc. Some people are, see what I mean? And no people are saying it's going to be the US dollar. Some people are saying maybe it's the euro. Others are saying, I'm just buying gold. The price of gold is up 30%. The price of gold is like through the roof. I remember when I first started buying gold years and years and years and years ago. I used to advertise for gold, okay? Because I believe it's a good place to save money. Not invest, but save money. And now it's so valuable. Because of him. But everybody else is going to get stiffed. Department of Homeland Security can't keep the Homeland Security, can't keep her purse secure. Secretary of Defense, drunk. And the businessman of the century is crashing the economy globally. Way to go, MAGA. Way to go. Now, some people, listen, I have suspected that crypto could make an appearance here for people that want to get screwed twice.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right. So it's a swirling malaise of contradictions. Really, I've never seen anything quite like this. And he picked these people because they were the worst, the absolute worst people. Kristi Noem, all she does is cosplay. I mean, that's all she does. She dresses up. She points guns at other people's heads by accident, right? She wears loose flak jackets. Nobody would wear a loose flak jacket, okay? Because if your flak jacket is loose, it could get caught on the airplane door. It could get caught on any door. It could get caught on a doorknob. I mean, you don't... She is such a poser. I've never seen a government full of people like this. I mean, Hegseth, really? A Fox Weekend News host as the Secretary of Defense? Like, who in the world, except for somebody who's casting a reality TV show, thought that was a good idea? Especially when his promise to the Senate was, I'll quit drinking if you make me the Secretary of Defense. I will. I will. Not quit drinking. So you got people who can't do the job, selected for that very reason, and now everybody's sitting there going, why is this happening? Because people confirmed them in the Senate. They said, sure, yeah. Why not? Why not? Why not have a felon as a president? Why not have a guy who has bankrupted all his businesses, all of them, without fail? Why not have him in charge of the most awesome economy in the world. Why not? What could go wrong? What could happen? Tariffs are the most beautiful word in the English language. Yeah, let's put him in there because you couldn't see what the grift was. You couldn't see that if he was putting tariffs on people, he'd want to get paid his tribute to waiver you out. You couldn't see the grift. Or maybe he talked you into thinking he would share it with you. He would, give you your cut. He would give you, but just don't buy anything. Just don't buy anything. You wearing a fur coat? I love that coat. Did you buy a Cadillac? A pink one? I told you, don't buy anything. I love that car. It's in my mother's name.
I don't care. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. I told you not to buy anything. What's wrong with you people? But really, I mean, you think about it. And now the pro-life people are pro-death. They're trying to put living people illegally on death lists to get them to self-deport because they ran out of criminals. And this is why Donald Trump was asked on Air Force One, because he's made some deal with a dictator, in Central America. And those people can get really prickly, Central American dictators. Yeah, they have a habit of, taking their revenge against, people that double-cross them. It's just the DNA of a dictator. It's just, a part of being a Central American dictator. And you know what's amazing? Costa Rica, okay, they had a president. His name was Oscar Arias. He was a wonderful man, really a great man. And he has had his American visa taken away. This was a democratically elected. Costa Rica is probably the only sane country in all of Central America. Panama has its moments, except if you can, ignore their banking system and the Panama Papers. But Costa Rica, 4 million people. Everybody does their thing. Everybody works really hard, but they live life to the fullest. They raise their kids. They love nature. Their motto is Pura Vida, which means pure life. And they live by it, okay? They're Catholic. They're probably all. Oh, Easter must have been so bad for them because the Pope died. The Pope died. Oh, my God. But anyway, Oscar Arias was president of Costa Rica. He was a completely honorable man, a good man, a decent person. He led with honor. He didn't bankrupt this country, didn't have a drug, epidemic, didn't have people dying on the streets, didn't have riots, didn't have crime problems. Just a nice man with a good presidency. Donald Trump took away his American visa. But Bukele, a dictator from El Salvador, he's allowed in. And I'm sure they made some deal because now Donald Trump has to fill up his prisons for a price, for a fee. Or Bukele is going to talk. He's going to take his revenge and bring down the American president. This is what happens. You lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. So Donald Trump was now on Air Force One as the pro-life guy. And, the law and order people and the waving of the flag and the Constitution, right? And they asked him if he was interested in Bukele in El Salvador, to take our American bad guys, American citizens he's talking about. Seriously, and here's his answer.
El Salvador, the president there said he would be willing to take American citizens in the federal prison population. Is that one of the ideas you're going to be discussing?
Well, I love that. If we could take some of our 20-time wise guys that push people into subways and that hit people over the back of the head and that purposely run people over in cars, if he would take them, I'd be honored to give them. I don't know what the law says on that, but I can't imagine the law would say anything different. If they can house these horrible criminals for a lot less money than it costs us, I'm all for it.
He again with the criminals, because you won't say anything if they're criminals, so he characterizes everybody as criminals except for the January 6ers who took a dump on the Congress floor or broke the windows, or the guy that beat Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. He doesn't mention like what should happen to him. He says guys who run people over with their cars. Is he talking about the guy who killed Heather Heyer at the Charleston white nationalist jamboree? I don't know who he's talking about there. I don't think he does either, but he's willing to actually do away with any semblance of citizenship if he decides you're a bad guy, and he'll send you to a prison where no one ever leaves. So whatever you do is now a life sentence in El Salvador with no visitors and no communication with the outside world for the rest of your days. And he loves it. He said he loved it. Can't put words into his mouth because he knows all the best words, okay? But here he is in the Oval Office. The Oval Office. This is like being in the Pope's residence and blaspheming, okay? He disrespects the Oval Office. With Bukele, a dictator, saying, hey, listen, homegrowns are next. Homegrowns are next. You're going to have to build 5 more prisons. Bukele's like saying to him, I really appreciate the confidence you have in me. He's like shocked that the American president is so stupid.
I said, homegrowns are next. The homegrowns. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah, that's fair. All right? It's not big enough.
No, it never was. The man just ain't big enough. To quote Don Henley. King of Hollywood. Great song. Oh my God. I'm going to get to listen to all my favorite stuff every day now. Every day. Turn off the news. Turn on Henley and Hart. That was then. This is now. Can't wait. But I mean, this is the man in charge of the greatest democracy in the history of the world. What could happen with that? Do you think anybody will lose their rights? Nah.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, this is fun. This is really fun.
We want to make sure that we draw the line here at Kilmar Garcia because it's not just about him. It's about the fact that in the Oval Office, Donald Trump brought up that he wants to do the same thing to quote-unquote homegrowns. Homegrowns being U.S. citizens, a complete violation of our Constitution. I don't want to wait till it gets to that point. The reason I'm here as a congressman representing Orlando, Florida, is because I've received hundreds and hundreds of calls and emails and mail from my constituents. I represent a lot of immigrants. I represent a lot of people who see themselves represented in this situation. They're saying, Congressman, do what you can now because it's him today and it can be one of us tomorrow.
I want to dig in on that point. You've made that point several times. But before we move forward, I have to stop down with what you just said. Donald Trump's made a statement about wanting to deport American citizens. Do you have that in front of you? I've not seen that statement. Can you please quote where that comes from, that he would like to deport American citizens?
He said it in the Oval Office. He said he wants to go for homegrowns next, people born and raised in the United States. Citizens.
Do you have anything?
And then
do you have anything besides your word on that? I have not seen. I have not seen that. So. Beyond your word, do you have the source of that? I would love to see that clip or that transcript of him saying he wants to deport American citizens.
I could do that for you. Here you go. Here it is.
I said, homegrowns are next. The homegrowns. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah, that's fair. All right? It's not big enough.
What's more offensive to you? Okay, and really it's subjective. It could be any of these parts, these moving parts of this particular last 2 minutes here. Is it that the Fox News guy, ignorance is bliss, he doesn't know that Donald Trump said that to a Central American dictator in the Oval Office, that homegrowns are next? Is that the part that's offensive to you, that the Fox News host, which you would think to be a host you had to pass some sort of a current events test or whatever. Okay, or is it the part where they laughed at it in front of the Central American dictator, who, when you go into that prison, you can never leave, no matter what? I mean, everything is a capital crime. Everything in El Salvador. If Bukele doesn't like you, life in prison without the possibility of ever seeing. Is that the part, the laughing about that? Or is it the part where we actually are doing this? It's like choose whatever part of that's poison for you. I think I figured out though why Kristi Noem had $3 grand. She's probably buying ketamine.
He seemed to me just like another Trump supporter with a nice suit this time and a microphone. He heard something that he didn't like, He says, "Where did you?" I didn't hear that.
He's
Where
a
did you
Fox News host.
Yeah. Where did you get where did you do your research? I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
he's
see
not
that,
the guy in the bar, Brett, that you always hang out
he's
with.
He's not, but he represented.
He's a Fox
that
News
I hang out with.
host.
You've got this idea that I hang.
Well, how do you hear? Oh, it's in the game rooms, right?
No, it's nothing. Listen, I mingle about the people, and some
So
of those
that's
people
what I'm saying.
but he's representing the response that you get when you say something to a Trump supporter that they don't like. Well,
Right.
I didn't see it.
But he's
I
a
didn't see it.
TV host.
Yeah.
He's a national broadcaster. You would think that there would be some, I don't know, some test that you have to pass, a license that you have to hold. Oh, that's right. This is America. Now, how many years have I been saying that if you want to brand yourself news, you have to follow standards and practices of reporting news? You can't make crap up. You can't pretend that you don't know what happens in the American president's Oval Office meeting with a Central American dictator after they disappeared 200 plus people in violation of a court order that clearly said, turn the plane around. And we're not talking Vicky Sue Robinson, territory. This is not turn the beat around. This is turn the plane around. Bring them back. This man was here with a court order to withhold deportation to El Salvador. You know, I don't know which part of this is the really alarming part, because it's all alarming. It all sucks. It is all so unnecessarily nasty and violative of everyone that knows better. That guy in the suit, he knows better than your MAGA friends, okay? He does. He knows what he's doing. Do we have something besides for your word? That is a congressman from Florida, by the way, who's talking to Max Frost. And just so you know what's going on, a whole bunch of Congress members, especially ones from Florida who represent very large immigrant communities, went down to San Salvador, in El Salvador, the capital. They went down there to show their support for the Constitution. It has nothing to do with the guy that we don't know. We don't know the guy. We know that he had a court order to withhold deportation in El Salvador. It's not like we're suddenly best friends with Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. It's that he represents constitutional protections that guarantee not just good people, but bad people. If he happens to be one, I don't think so. I don't. He's been here 10 years and never broke a law. What is it, pre-crime territory we're in now? I don't know. But it's not about him. It's about due process. Bad people get due process. Bad people get due process. Good people get due process. Do you know why we have it? So that wretched individuals who bankrupt their own casinos, which is unheard of, the House always wins. People who are so bad at business that they would tank not just our economy, but the global economy, and pick the very worst people on the planet to inhabit the intelligence community. Tulsi Gabbard is this weird woman who loves Vladimir Putin, who is part of a strange cult that we used to see at the airport dancing around and, giving flowers to people for money. She's now the chief intelligence officer of the United States. We have a drunk in charge of he's in charge of the Department of Defense, texting on a private, his own cell phone, an unprotected cell phone that obviously our enemies are listening to and watching, targeting information. His wife goes with him to meetings with world leaders. What the hell is going on here? The DHS, the Homeland Security Secretary, has her purse stolen. It's just a humiliation. It's the only reason why they took her purse. I think they were shocked and surprised to find $3,000 in there to buy Elon Musk some fresh ketamine. I guess she was bringing it back while he puts people on the death list and insists that 14 kids is a normal amount of children to have because he's pro-life, everybody. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like I said, if it wasn't actually in the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, if it wasn't in, Politico and legitimate news sources, you would think this was being put in the Onion. You would think this is a parody. You would think that this is a joke. That the President of the United States has a Central American dictator in his office and says, we want to deport homegrowns on a live mic. With booms. I mean, it's TV mics. It's not like even this mic is kind of big, okay? This is a Shure mic. It's my favorite. But, those booms that go overhead, those things are gigantic and they're fuzzy. I mean, they look like koala bears. How could you miss that? This is insanity. This is crazy. But it doesn't even come close to the next thing I want to tell you about. Swear to God. Because the people that want to put living people on the death list to get them to self-deport because they ran out of criminals on day one, and now they need to, go after people who are hardworking, and also, if they work for a meat processor, or if they work for, a large agribusiness, or if they work for a gigunda roofing company or a mega construction organization, they can go to Donald Trump, the owners can, of these, slave people, and they can say, waiver out my slaves, waiver out my slaves. And Donald Trump will say, well, F you pay me. Just don't buy anything. And they will. They'll pay him. He'll issue a waiver because that's the new grift. That's the thing. And crypto, too. That's why the dollar is crashing. It's by design, everybody. It's by design. I mean, didn't we call this? Didn't we tell you this was exactly what was going to happen? So if little old us could see it coming, if little old us knew that the new grift was going to be crypto and it was going to be wavering people out for a fee, for a price, why, and it was in papers. I mean, why did just 1% of America, more than the other side that knew that was going to happen, why didn't they know? Is it the guy in the suit there on the Fox News?
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Keep the faith.
This is going to be a disaster.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
By the way, Jessica, it's not a crypto scheme. It is a crypto opportunity.
It is a scheme. It is a grift. It is hugely...
The scheme is when they try to take $500 million from him. When Letitia James was facing a little
poor
karma.
baby Donald Trump. No.
$500 million? It wasn't even a real crime.
If a Democratic president said, here's my crypto account, just send money directly to me, you guys would be losing your minds. But because it's Donald, everything's fine.
You know what?
What? I'm right.
That's right. She is right. Jessica Tarlov is once again right. Sitting there with a ratio of 1 to 5. That is what she has to do every day. Now, I just, it is so disgusting. And it's so obvious that Donald Trump has, crypto accounts and, he's got all memes, what do you call those? What?
Talking about NFTs or
they're
meme coin?
Yes. Well, it's just a meme that you can send money to. I don't even understand it because it's backed by nothing and it's like a not real thing. But foreign investors or foreign people who want to bribe him or, they know exactly how to get the money over to him now because he's got a crypto account. It's so sick and it's so in your face and it's so obvious. But here's the next thing. I'm like retching, okay? Today, just so you know, the Supreme Court heard an oral. I guess they got oral arguments, which is what the proper response is to that. Just argue. And this one had to do with And this is really, 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 really bad. Because, keep in mind that the Supreme Court can say, there's no need to hear this case. This is ridiculous. Or this is self-explanatory. Or we have freedom of speech in the United States. Or what is it that you're asking us to do anyway about your issue? So no, we're not going to hear the case. But they agreed to hear this case. They are hearing this case. And the case that they're hearing was brought by, I could play you the mom, okay? It's brought by a mom her name's Grace Morrison. She's a mom in Montgomery County, Maryland, and she has issues, a lot of issues that she wrestles with on a daily basis. And one of the issues that she has, that she wrestles with on a daily basis, that she felt so strongly about, that she went to the Supreme Court. Okay, stop me there. What do you mean she went to the Supreme Court? Who could afford to go to the... Right, you can't. Do you understand how much lawyering it would take to get to the Supreme Court? No matter what your beef is? Right. So she has to be paid for by, I don't know, the Heritage Foundation or some big, deep-pocketed organization that has in its crosshairs gay people, because she has a very bad problem with gay people. They bother her. She doesn't even want gay people in storybooks. She doesn't even want them in fiction. She doesn't want gay people to be anything that is talked about in any setting at all. And she wants the Supreme Court to do something about how offended she is by it. Seriously. Now, I don't think she's just a housewife, and I don't think she's just a working mom, or whatever you want to characterize somebody from, Montgomery County, Maryland as, who could afford to go all the way to the Supreme Court, meaning she went through a district court, she went to a appellate court, the appellate courts disagreed with each other, and so therefore the Supreme Court had to take the case. Do you know how much money that is? Okay. So here she is, Grace Morrison, okay, of Montgomery County.
You are the mother of 7. Your youngest child has Down syndrome and other special needs.
Yes, the mother of 7.
It seems to have struck you quite personally.
Yes, we had her in the, she was adopted from Ukraine as an infant. She was in the Montgomery County school since she was 3. She was then 10 years of age. And it had been a wonderful relationship with the teachers. And then all of a sudden, there was this change in policy. And when I went to say, I don't think these books will be good for her, and especially the instruction, a wall went up between myself and the teacher and the principal as well. And they felt that if our family couldn't adhere to this policy, then the public school system was not the best place for our family and for our daughter.
The brief from the school board says this: the storybooks themselves do not instruct about gender or sexuality. They are not textbooks. They merely introduce students to characters who are LGBTQ or have LGBTQ family members. The word merely strikes me there. And I wonder what it was like when you first saw these books and read them yourself.
Yes, I did go and I did read them, and I was honestly shocked. And the part too is that it was not merely reading, it was instruction. And you can find in the court documents how the teachers and principals were instructed on how to approach the children and instruct the children with a very one-sided answer and approach to any questions that would come naturally from the children when these heavy topics are introduced. We're talking children 3 to 10 years of age. So this is, it's just really unthinkable.
I don't think a 3-year-old is in public school, maybe in pre-K, but let's say it is. Let's say you have a 3-year-old in pre-K. I really doubt that they're going to instruct that child about anything to do with LGBT or sexuality, hetero, or anything to do with sex, because they wouldn't know what the hell you were talking about. Oh my God. So this is what went on at the Supreme Court today. An argument that said, I don't want storybooks. And, Fox News is showing, books that are probably, for kids who are in high school, okay? Instead of storybooks that are, read to third graders or second graders or first graders or kindergartners that happen to have a character in the book that could be gay. This is how offended she is by this. And she wants the Supreme Court to make a ruling saying that those books are banned. Now, again, I thought America would have it at book banning. I really did. I thought this would be a big red flag, a big bright light shining on fascism that was creeping and crawling into schools, that was creeping and crawling into our lives. That was, but it isn't. It isn't. The money that is the big money is literally guiding these cases to the Supreme Court to make the determination that gay is bad, even if it's fiction, that a gay character cannot possibly be. Listen, if you are so sensitive to gay anything, put your kid, well, I would say in Catholic school, but they don't have a problem with it. Rest in peace, Pope Francis. Seriously, so because religious schools have let them down, they want the public schools to now behave as if they were religious schools. What is going on in this country, okay? But that's the case. I actually heard Clarence Thomas actually asked a question today. He said, so are you talking about, kids, what age? 5 to 10? But it gets worse. Not only is it a weird religion that doesn't tolerate fictional characters that don't fit the stereotype of what a heterosexual person and or family looks like in a storybook, so much so that they will go all the way to the Supreme Court to ban that book. But they are very interested in something called pro-natalism. Pro-natalism. Any clue what that might be?
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Have you heard this term pro-natalism? Have you heard of it yet? I'll just say you can't spell white nationalism without pro-natalism. Not that MAGA can spell, but there's that. It is an idea. It is an idea that Donald Trump wants to do in an executive order. Now, remember I said an executive order, meaning he doesn't want to go to Congress for this, okay? Because this is that bat crap crazy, okay? This is literally, oh, God. Okay, so this is Elon Musk and what's his name from the transportation, what's his name? Transportation staff, Sean Duffy. I don't know if you know this, but Sean Duffy has 9 kids. And he's like one of 10 in his family. Now, I told you, my grandma is one of 13. So this is not such a foreign idea that, you could have very, very large families. However, Elon Musk doesn't really have a large family now, does he? No. He runs around picking women to artificially inseminate, which is what we used to call IVF. So now it's got this name, in vitro fertilization, so that people can, get past the test tube baby portion of our lives, right? So Elon Musk runs around and he looks for women to inseminate artificially with IVF, with in vitro fertilization, right? And have his babies that way. Now, I think that's kind of gay that you don't want to touch the woman. Just saying, and I guess Miss Montgomery over there, Miss Montgomery County, isn't aware that Elon doesn't touch the women, that he actually sends them off to get IVF. Now, I don't know if it's another case of the man just ain't big enough or his motility is somewhat questionable, but that's what he does. And the side effect of it is multiple births. He has 3 sets of twins. Okay? So that said, there's this movement now called pro-natalism. That is an idea to persuade us girl folk, to persuade the estrogen-bearing beings among us to give birth to a large number of children. Pro-natalism. And Donald Trump wants to pay us like we're garden variety prostitutes or Elon Musk's receptacle. And Donald Trump wants to do this through an executive order. So, because they in the Republican Party are ranting and raving now about the low birth rate in this country. It's a low birth rate in this country because, I don't know if you noticed, but having children is way expensive. And when Republicans come to power, what they go after are, school lunch programs, right? What they go after is EBT cards. What they go after is the child tax credit. What they go after is, the right to have a doctor see you through your pregnancy and make sure it's a good one, meaning you're not going to die and bleed out in the hospital bathroom. So if they wanted to increase the amount of children being carried by us estrogen-bearing beings, I have a little advice. Don't do it through an executive order, because it's not going to persuade anybody that $5,000 is going to get a kid from pre-K with no story time all the way through college for the low, low bargain basement price of $5,000, which is what he wants to pay. Swear to God, $5,000 to a woman who will have multiple births. Now, they also want, if you have 3 babies for the state. This is so Nazi. I can't even. Honestly, does anybody remember? Hitler and Stalin used to do this too. Like Hitler had this thing called the Mother's Cross. The Mother's Cross. You had to have 8 children, and you would get Hitler's Mother's Cross. Anybody? Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where we are. This is what it said. Baby bonuses, and menstrual cycle classes. Oh, God, where's Margaret Atwood when you need her? Under his eye, blessed be the fruit. We're here. It's not even dystopian anymore. They're saying that that we have a problem with, a low birth. And we have a problem with fertilization, And so baby bonuses and menstrual cycle classes are some of the ideas that have been pitched to be in this executive order that Trump is going to issue to incentivize women to have more babies. This is what it says. This is quote. This is in the New York Times, by the way. Like I said, if it wasn't in the New York Times, if it wasn't in the Washington Post, if I didn't read stuff in the Wall Street Journal about, oh my God, the whole country is going to go into a Great Depression, meaning the 1932 stock market was better than this one. Just saying. And 1932 is now going to have a numeral. Yeah, it's going to be the Great Depression 1. It's going to have a numeral. But this is what it said in the New York Times. Okay, quote, we need to channel the Maha spirit, make America healthy again. We need to channel the Maha spirit and really dive deep into infertility, said Emma Waters, a policy analyst at the Heritage Foundation, referring to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again campaign. The White House has been hearing out a chorus of ideas in recent weeks for persuading Americans to get married and have more children. But you understand, married doesn't mean what it means now. Not all marriages are marriages. And we know that because, Miss Montgomery County is asking the Supreme Court to say that out loud. Not even in fiction can you have anybody that isn't, a man and a woman married to each other. don't want it even in story time, don't want it even in a book. That a kid who's being raised in a non-traditional household, my household was a non-traditional household. I'm not gay, but I'm also not married. And Jessica also isn't mine. She didn't spring forth from my loins. I wish I could take credit for that girl. She's stunningly beautiful and she's incredibly smart. But I didn't make her. My sister did. I just raised her. Nature or nurture. Yeah, it's one I wrestle with all the time. Okay, so they're going to pay us now to be the vessels for Elon Musk's seed? Yes, because they want only elite, I swear to God, elite seeds to be in this program. And only in what they call a traditional marriage. Only in a traditional marriage. So you may have 3 kids, but if your marriage doesn't look the way that Miss Montgomery County thinks it should look, no, you're not getting a bonus.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Jesus, I kind of believe that this is a proposal. This is like an executive order that's being floated to give women $5,000 to receive the seed of the elite. I mean, this is just crazy. This is madness, really. A baby bonus to every American mother after delivery. They also want to, fund programs that educate women on their menstrual cycles, in part so they could better understand when they're ovulating. You do realize that if you taught a woman when she's fertile, she might actually forego those days with you. You understand there's a downside to that too, right? Listen, here's the thing. If you really wanted to incentivize having babies, lots and lots of them, what you might do is give paid family leave. What you might do is give a child tax credit. What you might do is offer free pre-K. What you might want to look into is free K through 14. What you might want to do is raise wages. Hello? Allow unionization. Allow collective bargaining for all those new factory jobs that you're creating. You think in your head that's not going to involve robots, right? What you would want to do is give child care. Free child care, which is what everybody's been asking for. Whoever had a baby in their life asks for. But oh no, they want to give bonuses. They want to pay you like you're a streetwalker. They want to give you a class on your own menstrual cycle. This is so sick. It is just so twisted and so backwards and so nationalistic and white supremacist. I mean, the Mother's Cross. He wants to call it the Mother's Cross. That is Hitler. He gave the Cross of Honor of the German mother. It's the same damn thing, except in this case you have to have 3, and in Hitler's case 8. You had to have 8. You know who tried this? The guy that they worship the most, the whitest guy, the whitest fascist, the whitest authoritarian in Europe is, that's right, Viktor Orban of Hungary, which is what we're going to be if any of this actually continues on, and this isn't the shortest presidency in the history of the presidency, meaning that Congress grows a pair, and I don't care if they're ovaries or what, and impeaches this man for doing everything he's doing to our economy, everything he's doing to our court, everything he's doing to the Constitution, everything he's doing to legal immigrants, everything he's doing to people who have committed no crime, everything he's saying to Central American dictators, everything he's doing. It has to stop. And these Republicans in the House have got to be sent a message that they cannot get elected by supporting this menu of insane options. But he's emulating Viktor Orban. How do I know this? Because also in the New York Times, they tell us what happened in Hungary that they're copying with this stupid natalism, pro-natalism. White nationalism, can't spell it. Okay. So Michelle Goldberg, who's a wonderful columnist, she actually researched what went on in Hungary around the uterus, around the issue of fertility. And long before Donald Trump declared himself the fertilization president, which I think has much more to do with fertilizer than it does with fertilization, because everything he spews is manure, to be polite about it, Viktor Orban started a program like this. In 2019, Viktor Orban argued, and this is so interesting, and this is how you know it's a white supremacy, white nationalism, white Christian nationalism, white Christo-fascism thing, is because Viktor Orban said, quote, immigration. Now, what made him say immigration when talking about my uterus? What made him think of immigration when it came to talking about babies? Because he wants them to be white babies. So he said immigration was no answer to the demographic shortfall, meaning they didn't have enough people being born into their country, into their society. He said, we don't need numbers, we need Hungarian children. Because we all know that when you're shopping for children, Hungarian is the best. Of course. You want caviar? You go to Russia. You want children? Go to Hungary. I don't know. So the point is not children. White children is the answer. And then he actually introduced a 7-point family protection action plan. That's a quote. A family protection action plan meant to encourage marriage and baby making. Here's what it included. Thank you, Michelle Goldberg. It included government loans of 10 million Hungarian forints, which was at the time of 2019, it was equal to about $35,000 to women under 40. Sorry, over 40s, you don't get a chance to participate because, you know, geriatric eggs. Swear to God, that's what they call it. When you're over 40 and you go to the OBGYN and they look at your follicles there in the ovary, they say you still got some eggs. They call them geriatric eggs, but they're eggs. They don't want those. So it's only for women under 40 and only for women who are married and only for traditional marriages. And the loan of $35,000 will be forgiven if you had at least 3 children. Large families get help buying cars and houses, and women who had at least 4 children are exempt from personal income taxes for life. This is what lengths they will go to in fascist countries, in white supremacist countries, in authoritarian countries, in order to produce elite babies in their head. Now, you know this idea has been banging around their brains for a really stinking long time because Elon Musk has been doing it, okay? And Orban's been incentivizing it for, what is this, 2025? 6 years now. But here's the result. Let me just skip to that page, okay? Because this is the part that I really like. Now, of course, it's elite genes only, okay? The proposals here include things like baby bonuses for American mothers, new affirmative action programs that set aside 1/3 of Fulbright scholarships for people who are married traditionally and have kids. Malcolm and Simone Collins are pro-natalists who want to seed the future with their elite genes. They're the ones that went to the White House to, come up with the National Medal of Motherhood for women who have at least 6 children, which is extremely fascist. Anyway, when Viktor Orban started this in 2019, the total fertility rate in Hungary was 1.5 children per mom. And since it has plummeted to 1.3 children per mom. Why is it going the opposite direction? Why? Because men are toxic.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
I should say that men who want this, men who want women to stay home, like Andrew Tate is quoted in this article. You know who he is, right? Andrew Tate is like a guy who's wanted for human trafficking and rape in Romania that Donald Trump glommed onto and said, hey, come to America. He's not even American. I mean, it's just so sick. Anyway, he said everyone should look at their father like a superhero. He is a well-known misogynist and human trafficker. And he said, hang on, I want to get it right. It's hard to be a superhero if you're home every day arguing with your wife, changing diapers. This is the manosphere that has turned men into toxic masculine things. They're not masculine, okay? They're just toxic. It's like toxic shock syndrome has invaded the women's groups again. Okay, we used to die from toxic shock syndrome. You gotta come to Jesus about this. Guys who listen to Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate and Charlie Kirk and that shooter the other day at FSU. He was a Charlie Kirk sycophant. Okay, Charlie Kirk has campus chapters. And he had a campus chapter, white supremacist, a horrible, manosphere sort of a club at FSU. And this white supremacist kid who wasn't even welcome in the white supremacist clubs because they had a rule, no Nazis allowed. So he was kicked out and was forced to, just hang with Charlie Kirk's group. These men are not appealing to women. You want to know what's going on? There's a couple of things, and they're real easy. One, men who think that beating a woman or trafficking a woman or saying that she changes the diapers and I don't help it all around the house, and you stay home, and this is what it looks like, and this is who... That is not sexy. It's not appealing. It's not a turn on. It doesn't work. We're 21st century females. We have hopes and dreams of our own. We have our own credit cards, and we're allowed to own things without you. Grow up. Join us here in the 21st century. That's number one. Treating women badly or with disregard for their acumen or their abilities is not appealing. The second thing, though, the more important thing that the government could fix is it's too expensive to have a family. No one can buy a house. People can't afford children the way they used to be able to afford children. And you know why? Union busting. Collective bargaining ended. But they want to bring back factory life. They have this fantasy that these, elite men like Andrew Tate who won't change a diaper is somehow going to sweat in an assembly line scenario, cutting meat. And that only Donald Trump can make that happen. I mean, this is such a race to the bottom. And, like I said, when Hungary mandated that women, do you know how much they spent in Hungary on this program, on this pro-natalism program? Hungary spent 5% of its GDP. That's more than we spend on defense, okay? I think we spend 3% of our GDP on defense. Hungary spent 5% of all of its gross domestic product on its pro-natalism family policies. That's a greater percentage than America spends on defense. And the fertility rate plummeted. Because people don't want to have children in a fascist, authoritarian environment, number one. Number two, toxic men who view us as vessels and nothing more are not appealing, and it's too expensive to have a child. But remember, I told you at the beginning of this pronatalism explanation that he wants to do it by executive order. Why? Because if Donald Trump was really interested, if Elon Musk was really interested, if anybody in a position of power was really interested in helping the birth rate in this country increase, they would do the things that we just talked about. They would give free childcare to every single household. They would incentivize pre-K. They would make it free for everybody. They would make not K through 12 free for everybody. They'd take you all the way through to 14, so that if you wanted a vocational education, so that if you wanted an associate's degree, you could get one free. They would make it so that there's a child tax credit. Now, we know the child tax credit works. It took half of the kids that are in this country out of poverty. We still have children in this country living in poverty. They took away the child tax credit. Guess what happened? Back into poverty, back into hungry kids at school. Hungry kids cannot learn. All they're thinking about is being hungry. Paid family leave would be a good idea, but you see, that needs Congress. That needs Congress. And they're not going to do it. What they want to do is wear giant crosses as earrings and say that they are more, they're closer to God with their giant cross earrings, like Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace, I have to tell you, there's something really wrong with her. Every time somebody asks her a question in public, she thinks that they're trying to assault her sexually. I swear to God. There was a man that was in the, I don't know if it's a drugstore or a grocery store, but he was asking her when she's going to have her next town hall. And she started screaming at him, "Stop harassing me. I'm a sexual assault survivor. I'm going to call the police." I swear.
I do them every year. You want to keep going? Do you want to keep going and keep harassing me? You could have gone to a dozen town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah.
Are you doing a town
I've already done one. I'll do plenty more.
Any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well, look
And
out
by
for
the
an
way,
actual invitation.
I voted for gay marriage twice.
What?
So I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do,
That's
absolutely.
your first stance when you speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
If you want to get in my face about town halls, you should have shown up to one last year.
There's no other humane thing you can talk about me just saying, "Oh, I support gay marriage."
Yeah,
That's
because you're getting in my face about a town hall. You could have gone last year. Would you like me?
If you have any plans to have more town halls this year?
I mean, she won't hold a town hall. She won't, okay? And then she sees this man standing there, and it looks like a Walgreens to me. I don't know. Could be a CVS. And she's, do you want to harass me? I'll have you know I voted for gay marriage. Then she goes on TV and screams, "I'm a sexual assault victim. I can't have this."
This guy approached me, and I will tell you, I felt threatened, I felt harassed, and I will tell you, as someone who's experienced trauma in her life, and a lot of women will understand what I'm talking about, when some guy gets in your face and approaches you in the aggressive manner that he did, and you feel like you're in danger. Instinctively, as women who've been through trauma, who've survived sexual assault, survived domestic abuse, you have two options. You can fight or you can flee. And Sean, I'm a fighter. And I've never stood back down from a fight. I will stand my ground.
Do you see the size of those cross earrings she's wearing? They're humongous. It just screams, "I'm a bigger, badder, better Christian than you." But I voted for gay marriage. Please, don't harass me. So, it's interesting because when I looked up Nancy Mace's assault, I'm dying to know already at this point. All you get is prosecutors drop charge against man who Nancy Mace said assaulted her. That's April 3rd. Charges dropped against Chicago man. Attorneys withdraw assault charge for a foster and trans youth advocate. Okay. Mace accuses ex-fiancé of assault. Mace accuses associates of assault. Mace sued for defamation by man she accused of abuse. This is like her go-to. This is her thing, why she doesn't have to talk to her constituents. And people have sued her for defaming them, for saying that, they were harassing her, they were assaulting her, they were somehow scaring her, they were putting her in danger, oh my God. Just shut up and get pregnant, Nancy. Just go have multiple births. Do it now. All right, we will regroup here tomorrow. It will be Wednesday. It will be our last day of the Randi Rhodes live shows. All the other shows, that we've done, they're archived. They're there. They will be there. But tomorrow is our last live show right here on wherever you're listening or watching, or on your phone or on the TV. I don't know. But join us back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we can actually nestle in each other's armpits and commiserate about the state we're in and what to do as we leave